Hello and welcome to another live lesson. It's 4 o'clock. Actually, it's just gone 4 o'clock, and yeah, hope everyone's doing well. I'm just going to see if I can find the video, and we will then begin. And today we are going to look at reading skills, how to develop your vocabulary. So that is what we are going to look at today. What I would say is, if you are watching this later, please fast forward about 5 minutes, and because usually we don't really get started until we're about 5 minutes into the lesson. So I do suggest you do that if you are watching this later. Okay, yeah, I found it, so that's excellent. Irina F, good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. Lovely to see you here. I hope you're doing well. Let's see who else is watching now, and then we'll eventually get into it. Okay, right, cool. Okay, so Alida, good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. Buenos dias, where you are from. Sandra, hi, good afternoon to you too as well. Dakashun. Bruno Okada, konnichiwa, hello. Welcome to today's lesson. And Sergio, obrigado. Hello, welcome to today's lesson. Where's my tea? 1 second, I forgot my tea. Cheers. Now, we can't forget, as an Englishman, you can't forget your cup of tea. So I hope everyone's doing well. And yeah, it's a very hot day in Malta, another very hot day. And I'm sure where you guys are, hopefully the weather is good. If you're in Malta, you will be hot. If you're in South America, maybe your weather, maybe the weather where you are is similar to today. Sorry, similar to yesterday. Maybe it's clear skies, but only 10 degrees. Alida says, I have a question. How many idioms do you speak? We would say, instead of how many idioms do you speak, how many idioms do you know? If I were to answer that question, my answer would be, I have no idea how many idioms I know in English. We will do an idiom lesson actually tomorrow. Tomorrow's lesson is on it's something on the lines of very English sayings, and there will be some idioms. But I know a lot of idioms, but I wouldn't know how many. But I tell you what, before the end of the lesson, I will introduce you to one or two idioms. Okay, so let's begin. Make sure, by the way, guys, that you like the video, and if you're new, subscribe and also share with others. So let's begin. Reading skills. Now, there's different types of reading skills that we need to know about in English, and depending on what type of reading skill we look at, will tell us a little bit different about in terms of how to build our vocabulary. Now, the other day, Tuesday, I introduced you guys to lexical sets and lexical chains, and there's certain things we can do with that. So first of all, let's look at trying to build our vocabulary, and then we can then look and see how certain types of reading skills can help us develop our vocabulary. So the first technique I'm going to show you is what to do when you see a new word and you don't know what the word means. Now, usually I would show you in a class by demonstrating it, but it's very difficult to demonstrate this as it is. So I'm going to have to try and improvise in some sort of way. So let's go with this. I'm going to write the sentence and I'll explain to you how this works. And then I'm going to see if you guys can do it. Okay, so okay, so we have this sentence. The weather was dreadfully dull. Okay. Now, let's say there are maybe two words there that you might not know, or maybe one word that you don't know. What you do is you take your thumb and you cover the word that you don't know, and then you read it again. And you think to yourself, okay, what word would I use to complete that sentence? So let's take the word dreadfully. Now, dreadfully sounds negative already because it's like dreadful. So what we can do is we can put our thumb over the actual word, and we know it's an adverb, and we looked at that yesterday. So we would say, okay, it was maybe really, very, maybe extremely. Okay, so we know it's a type of adverb that adds extra emphasis to the word dull. Now, let's say you don't know what dull means, but you're thinking about it. And you think, okay, dull. It's either going to be positive or negative. And you think to yourself, okay, I'm going to go with a negative. I'm going to say it's bad. So you would then say the weather was really bad. Okay. And in reality, you would be very, very close. Dreadfully is similar to really, but in a negative way. And dull is bad weather. Now, dull weather would be grey clouds, rain, windy. So, bad weather. And all you need to do is you just cover the word and you say the sentence again and you think to yourself, what words do I know that I can use to replace this word? And there's a very good chance that you will be able to replace the word with a synonym. And that tells you what the meaning of the word is. So I'm going to write a sentence. And I'm going to see if you guys can work out what the words mean. And you need to try and rewrite. To help you, I'm going to give you some possible examples as well, just to help your thought process for now. So let's go with this. Okay, let's go with this. We've got this. The weather was terrifyingly bitter. Now, if you know bitter, the word bitter, you might think to yourself, don't we use bitter for taste? Like, ooh, the lemon is bitter. The drink tastes bitter. You know, that very coffee, tea without milk can taste bitter. So you might be looking at this and you think, okay, terrifyingly. So I know, maybe you know the word terrifying, and then we'll try and work it out. I'm going to give you some examples. And I would like you guys to tell me which examples are the correct one. If you would like to write before I can write, please go ahead. So let's see. Go with. Oh, Sergio, yes, you can try. You can try. If you think you know, go for it before I give my example, by all means. Option 1, option 2. The weather was very awful, very cold, too awful. Okay, oh, wow, I don't even need to finish, actually. The next, I'll tell you what I was going to write. I was going to write that, but excellent. Yeah, good. Okay, so well done. You've got, now bitter is cold, because when you say, oh, the weather, you might say, oh, the weather is bitter. Bitter is cold automatically. You can say it was bitterly cold as well. You can turn bitter into an adverb, and you can say it's bitterly cold. So you can use it to mean cold, or you can mean it to add extra emphasis of how cold it was. So, for instance, if you, really cloudy, not necessarily. It can be bitterly cold, or the weather can be bitter even if it's sunny. But yeah, if it's bitter, then we're talking about something cold. And if it's bitterly cold, then we are saying, okay, this is freezing. So if you are in, if you live in Patagonia, on the south of Patagonia, in winter, then the weather can be bitterly cold. The weather can be bitter. If you live in Scotland, for example, in the winter, then yeah, the weather can be. What did I use before? I used the word terrifying. Yeah, the weather can be terrifyingly bitter. Now, terrifying is really scary, and sometimes if it's, I mean, look, you would use something like terrifyingly bitter is if it's so cold that it makes you feel uncomfortable, almost scary in terms of how cold it is. This would be the case, for instance, if it's like zero, let's say it's 0 degrees, it's windy, it's raining, maybe even snowing, and you walk out in a t-shirt, for example. So that can be a good one. So we're off to a great start. Well done. Let's go again with another example. Okay, so the new word in this one is crept. Now, in the present, you've got creep, and in the past, you've got crept. Okay, so it's an irregular verb. Now, if you don't know this word, just cover it. And what we can do here is you just need to think, okay, right, crept up, I crept her way. So the ugly creature crept her way up the stairs without a sound. Now, if someone says this, maybe it might be an older sister talking about a younger sister, in a joking sort of way. or maybe it's some kind of if you've watched The Ring, for example, that horror, that scary movie, you've got that girl with the long black hair. I have been told that the Japanese version of The Ring is much scarier than the American version. But we've got this ugly creature crept her way up the stairs without making a sound. So we need to think of what it means. Now, if you want to write what you think crept means, go for it. But I'm now going to put some options below, okay? Okay, I'm going to throw in another one. Okay, crawled. You know what? Maybe you don't need to crawl to creak, but if you do crawl, it kind of ties in a little bit. So yes, you're very much on the right lines there. Now the last one could be. Now I'll look at these ones. There's one that is definitely correct. There's one which is definitely wrong, and there's C. Sorry, I've just given away one of the answers. But then there's one which can be both, which can be yes and might not be. It depends. But there is one that is definitely correct. So maybe but if you creep, you might crawl, but you might also want to walk as well. Bruno Carda says A, Sergio says A, I guess. And yeah, that's the correct answer. Be quietly moved. Yes, so you creep, to creep, or crept in the past is to quietly move. You don't want to make a sound. It's that typical sort of horror movie scene where you've got maybe the wooden steps or the wooden floor and someone is moving very quietly, not wanting to make a sound. Now you've got this one, hauntingly moved, okay. Grovel, to hunt and appear suddenly. Ooh, not necessarily grovel, but I see what you're going for with hunt. I would say, put it this way, it's a bit like a cat. Now, if it's a cat, or a big cat, like a lion, that you could say the lion or the tiger. Let's go with the tiger, actually. The tiger. You would say, like, for instance, the tiger stalked its prey, for example, or the tiger stalked its kill. Stalk is that kind of is what you would go for there with what you were trying to say, Sergio. That very slow moving motion when like an animal like a tiger is hunting. TY, understood. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. So we would call it stalk, to stalk. Now, hauntingly moved. Hauntingly moved could be loud, or it could be obvious, or it could be very quiet. It depends. If it's like a poltergeist, like in what's it called? It depends. Like if you have a ghost that can hurt you, then it might be very obvious. That's when you can hear like the stairs. But then it might be really quiet. So it could be both. Bruno Okada says is a person who crawled very quietly and slowly from one room to another? Yes, Bruno Okada. That is the idea of creeping. Moving very quietly, very slowly, not wanting to make a sound. Good, excellent. Well, we're doing well here. Let's move on to another example, and then we'll look. So let's go with okay, yeah, I think we'll go with this one. There we go. The door slowly, sticking with this theme, the door slowly creaked open and she woke up feeling scared. So here we're looking at the word creak and in the past creaked. So what does this mean? Oh, that's a really interesting way of putting it, Sergio. The buzz from the door, instead of fear her, you would say scared her, because it's not quite the same type of category of noun. Fear would be a noun in this case, and scared would be to say I'm scared would be an adjective. But the buzz, I see what you're going for. I like that use. So you've got two options. Either A, oh, I forgot the door. Sorry, that's not the maid. That should be the door maid. The door maid. I'll put that in. Sorry, the door maid. That's for A. Sorry, left out door. So we're saying that the door made the type of noise wooden floors make when people walk on them, or the door made a loud bang. Now, Alida and Sandra think it's A. So we're saying that if we think of that noise that a door makes, we're going to go. That would be the sound of wood, for instance. Now, all of you have got it right. Yeah, it's A. So, if this is well done, Bruno. So, well done, all of you. Alida, Sandra, Sergio, Bruno. You are all correct. So, I'm just going to bring my phone into the picture for one moment. Okay. So, if the phone is the door, we're talking about the slow moving and the sound. That sort of awful sound. I don't know if you guys ever grew up in a place with old wooden floors and old wooden doors, but they are scary. Um, I I lived in a place actually. I went to a school that used to be a castle, and there were so many places that were had this old wood and the door and the door as well. And it was an old castle. And at night, I remember when I was growing up, because I slept at school. It was a boarding school, so it's the type of school you stay there and you sleep at school. And the some parts of the castle, the school was really old, and at night it would scare you a little bit, but it was fine. Okay, so excellent. So we're doing really well here. I'm now going to write one more sentence on this one, but I'm not going to give you any clue. So you guys now need to try and think of this one. Okay, so let's go for it. Let's go with. Bruno says the creak of floorboards broke the silence in the middle of the night. Richard, yes, that's excellent. You just need to add the S on floorboard, so to make it floorboards. But that's a really good sentence. The creak of the floorboards broke the silence in the middle of the night. Very good. I can tell you can probably write a horror story. So, next one. She hilariously fell off the bicycle. Now, here we need to think about what the word hilarious is, because the adjective is hilarious and ly makes it an adverb. We can see, just like yesterday, this is not an adverb of frequency, but it is an adverb. It's a present simple. So you've got your pronoun. So you have your pronoun, then you have your adverb, and then you have your verb fell. Alida says, very funny. Okay, excellent. Do you guys agree with Alida that hilariously means that this was funny in the way that she fell off her bike? Let's see. Do you guys agree with Alida? Okay, so all of you agree with Alida. Well done. Yes, excellent. That's exactly it. That maybe was a bit too easy. Maybe I need to give you a harder one. Let's go for this. Okay, right. Let's see what you make of this word. Again, I'm not going to give you any clues, but this is actually quite. This is potentially quite difficult. But I think you'll understand almost all of the sentence except this particular word. And the word that we're looking at here is trying to think of what type of word that is anguish. Okay, anguish. So she had a look of anguish when she saw the crime scene. So you need to think, okay, it's a crime scene. So you're probably thinking, okay, this is some kind of negative. And then you need to think, okay, would it be a look of look of delight, or would it be a look of horror, for example? So have a little think. If needs be, you can cover the word and think, what word would you use to try and complete this sentence? If needs be, I'll then give you some other options as well. There are some good synonyms to this word of anguish. But I first want to see if any of you can come up with any ideas. This is probably the hardest one that we have looked at today. Oh, wow. Oh, excellent. Okay, right. Bruno Okada straight in with agony. Alida with horror. Okay, all of these, yeah. Pain, says Sandra. Okay, all of you are correct. Anguish is a look of horror, agony, and pain. Like if you look at the definition, you will see it actually. How would it describe? Yeah, um, the actual definition of anguish. So you've done really, really, really well actually on this one. Let me just show you what the actual definition is according to one dictionary. I don't know why it's not copying it for me properly. Here we go. Okay. So this is the actual. What's happened there? That's why. Okay. So this is the actual definition: a feeling of great physical or emotional pain. So if you're in emotional pain, would it be agony? Yes. Would it be one of horror? Quite possibly. And one of pain. So really well done, guys. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, good. So we've now had a little look at how we can do this. You cover the word and you think to yourself, okay, right, what word would I use to complete the sentence? And that's when you start thinking of the synonyms that you can think of that might be related to that word. And that's how you can work out what the word means. Now, let's look in terms of reading skills. Now, when it comes to reading skills, you've got three types of reading skills that you need to know. Okay, so you can have reading for gist, for example, and reading for gist would be like skim reading, for example. Skim reading is when you read very, very quickly. You're not reading for detail, but you want to get an idea of what the text is about. And that's called skim reading. So reading for gist. Okay. The other type of reading that I want to look at today is maybe reading for detail. And with this one, you are going to read normally at this point. Okay. You might, and we're going to break reading for detail up into two different categories. First, this is just regular reading. So you would read a text as you normally would, and you're not reading it quickly, but you're thinking about it. Now, what about when you want to read for specific detail? This would be called scan reading. Now, scan reading is a really important technique. When you read for specific detail, we use scan reading. And scan reading is when you look for very specific language. You're not reading the whole text. You're looking for something very, very specific. This is when you're trying to look for an answer, for example. You're trying to look for a definition. You are trying to look for a specific word. And that is why you're reading for specific detail. So if you're reading for specific detail, be it a word, phrase, or the significance of the sentence, you use scan reading. You're looking for it. So you're not going through everything. So which one are we going to focus on in this lesson? We're going to focus on scan reading. Now, to do scan reading well, we need to know about lexical chains and lexical sets. So lexical sets, just to remind you from Tuesday, is your main word. Okay, let's say, for example, let's go for comedy, for example. Okay, or let's say a romantic comedy. Okay, so it is a genre of film, but let's say the film is called it is a romantic comedy, and the film is called or the book, sorry, because we're talking about reading here. So the book, and the book is called A Funny Weekend. So your lexical chain here, related to romantic comedy, meaning funny. So your main word is funny. And weekend. So you're looking for words that are going to be related to something you might do on a weekend, and it's going to be funny. So what I'm going to do here is, guys, I'm going to write a sentence, and I just want you guys to tell me what and then I'm going to write a question. And what I would like you guys to do is try and to connect the dots. First, I'm going to do an example, then you guys can look at it. So, okay. Okay, so you have this little story here. So she was looking for fruit, and she was getting rather hot. She tried to take her jacket off, but her top came off at the same time. She was embarrassed and tried to hide. Oops, that's meant to be behind, not bin, behind a fruit stand. But as she bent down to hide, she knocked over the fruit stand. So you have some kind of physical comedy going on here. And now I'm going to write a question, a type of question you might get in an exam. What are the lexical chains between the story, the title, and the question? So imagine this is a true, false, or not given sentence. And you need to try and decide, okay, is this true, false, or not given? We've got hilariously, desperately, try to stay out of sight. Now, all of these words put together represent perhaps what happened. And we've got, she was looking for fruit and she was getting rather hot. So what we need to do is we then need to read the little paragraph and then we have to read the sentence. And we need to decide, is this true or false? First of all, does it, what are the word lexical sets in relation to the genre and what was happening in this situation? Now, the first thing we can say is hilariously. Now, we know that hilariously means funny. So that's one tick already. So we've got a tick for funny and we've got a tick for hilariously. Now, another key word here is embarrassed. Now, when you're embarrassed, it's like, oh dear. So can you guys tell me what the lexical chain, so the linkage between embarrassed and a word in this particular sentence? Can we find a way that it's not a direct synonym, but it's related. It's a lexical chain. So it's related to this type of description of when you are embarrassed, you might be doing something in a certain way. And then we need to think of maybe a word or a combinations of words that go with hide. Sandra says desperately. Excellent. Well done. And yes, embarrassed and desperately. So if you are embarrassed by something, you desperately try to do something like hide. So if you're embarrassed and you don't want to be seen, you will desperately try and hide. So well done. You found the chain between embarrassed and desperately. Can you find it for hide? Can you find it for hide in this sentence? Now, for this one, you probably need about 4 words that summarizes the term hide. So if you look at the sentence in A, the statement, the woman hilariously and desperately tried to stay out of sight, you'll find that there are 4 words there that when we use in that order means the word hide. And that's, again, part of the lexical chain, but that's a strong one because that's almost like a direct synonym. Alida says stay out of sight. Do you agree with her? Maybe Sandra or Bruno, Irina F., Sergio, do you agree with Alida that stay out of sight has the same meaning as hide? Let's see if you guys agree with Alida, and then I will tell you what the correct answer is. It's now for this one, I have put in probably a few more words. Bruno says, I agree. She agrees. Sorry. Oh, sorry, apologies. Bruno says he agrees. Sorry, so Bruno Okada agrees with Alida. Apologies, Bruno. And Sergio says, I'm thinking about it. Okay, I'll give you just a couple more seconds. So Bruno agrees with Alida, and Sergio is now thinking about it. Okay. Sandra agrees as well. Well, yeah, the answer is yes. So stay out of sight means hide. And that's your lexical chain there. So well done. That last one was difficult, but you all did really well. So a special thank you, Sergio, Sandra, Bruno Okada, Alida, and Irina F, for your contribution to today's lesson and your participation. I thought all of you did really well today, and I mean, look, it's some of that last one is not easy, so I'm really pleased to see how you guys all did. So thank you very much. If you enjoyed this lesson, make sure you like the video, and I will be back tomorrow at the same time with another lesson. Tomorrow, we are going to look at British English terms. There's going to be a few idioms as well. You're welcome, Bruno. Thank you very much. You're welcome, Sandra. And Dakashun. Thank you very much for joining today's lesson. You're welcome, Irina. Thank you very much. Yes, you too, Bruno. Have a nice evening. So yeah, I'll be back same time tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to look at British English terms. There will be a few idioms as well. Like always, if you look at the link, sorry, the description below, you will always find links to AM Languages website and social media platforms. Alida says, by the way, at the beginning, I meant how many languages do you speak, not idioms. Oh, right. Okay. Alida, I have to say I speak English and only English. I have tried to learn Italian. I learned a little bit, but then I have forgotten. But then I forgot my Italian. So I need to try and learn Italian again. Last year, because I was planning to, well, because I went to South America, I learned a bit of Spanish, but my Spanish is terrible. It really is. I don't think I can say I'm a complete beginner, really, in every language, I would say. So no, I would like to learn a language, but yeah, my language skills aren't good. So all of you can speak English much better than I can speak any of your languages. So thank you very much. Okay, guys, see you tomorrow, 4 o'clock, same time. Have a wonderful evening, and bye for now. Don't forget, make sure you like and share. And thank you for watching.